I wanted to share with you one of my favorite ways to look at someone's foot to understand what is going on in their spine. So your whole body is designed in a replication. There's a duplication happening. So if you have flat feet, you're going to have flat arches all over your body. You're going to have flat arches in the back of your knee. It's going to be a flat arch in your pelvic floor, right? And so this wave that moves through your body moves through it everywhere. If you're standing too hard on one foot, that whole pelvis is going to feel it. Like this is how the building of your body is being set up. And so just like the universe is designed in patterns, so are you, right? You are a microcosm of the macrocosm, as above, so below. And so when we look at a foot, right, and if you know anything about Chinese medicine, you can look at an ear to have all of the points of the whole entire body. In iridology, they look at the eye to understand what is going on in the whole body. So you only need to look at one piece to understand what's going on everywhere. Why I really like to look at the feet together when I'm looking at the spine is because the same waves that are in your spine are in your feet. And so I want you to set this up and do this for yourself so you can start to see into your own spine by looking at your 2 feet. And so I'm going to bring my camera down so you can see everything that's going on over here. But you want to first start in a bound angle pose. So this is a butterfly pose. And when you're here, right, you want to sit up on enough height so that you're not sitting back on your tail. You really want to be centered between your pubis and your coccyx. And when you're centered here, you're on essentially your 3rd foot, which is the way that the 2 arches here come together. This is your pelvic floor, right? The same shape right here is going to be the shape of the opening of, if you're a woman, your vagina. And if you're a man, it's the shape of your pelvic floor. So it's also going to be the same, right? The way that your thumbs come together. And so it's duplicated everywhere. So when you set yourself up on inbound angle, you want to set yourself up far enough so that you really have a lot of spread here. So if you're the type of person that likes to go too tight, you're not going to see as much in the foot. So I really want you to spread your feet out. And for our purposes, I'm just going to take this bolster actually underneath my feet so that you can really see what is going on here. So gives you a different view. Okay, so the feet are your lower body, right? It's how you're substantiating yourself, how you're standing. You know, the right foot is the right sacrum and the left foot is the left sacrum. And so anything that's going on the right side is going to go on the right side of the pelvis, in the right hip. Anything that's going on the left side is going to go onto the left hip, the left pelvis, all of it. And so when you're working it in this way, you can really start to see like where the patterns are showing up in your body. So your feet are also your kidneys. Your kidneys are your ground of your being. It's your substantiation. It's how you're holding your ground. You get your left kidney from your mother and your right kidney from your father. And so these 2 prenatal elements come in to form you. And this is where we get to have a dialogue with our body of like, what do I want to keep with me? What do I want to leave behind? So now that the feet are together, what we get to see is if your left foot is going to be the left side of the spine, right? The right foot is going to be the right side of your spine. The heel of the foot, this is just like your sacrum, right? And so the sacrum has this curve in it, right? The lumbar spine has this curve in it. The thoracic spine has this curve in it. The cervical spine has this little curve in it, and the head has this curve. And so you can already see the pattern that is moving through your foot, right? And so I'm putting the 2 feet together so that you can see basically the 2 sides of the spine. The other thing that you can do if your feet are not coming together is I love to use a strap. So you can use a strap, you can hook it around your foot, you can bring it all the way in front of you, tighten it up so your feet stay together, because you'll notice that maybe your feet aren't staying together in some places, right? And this is also revealing different things that I can't get into right now, because all we're looking at is the patterns of the feet. So the feet are going to be very different, right? The sacrum that you're looking at on both of the feet, which is the heel of the foot, is going to show everything about your sacrum. For me, and I don't know if you can see it here, is that my right heel is a lot flatter and smushed than my left because I sit harder on my right side. I'm always noticing myself, always using this leg, always overdoing it. So it's taking the air out of it, right? And so I can really see it in how my feet are coming together. And so this whole feet, anything that's going on in your heel, right, of either of the feet is going to be going on in your sacrum on that same side, right? And that's why when you're like, oh, my heel hurts right now, it's going to be in your sacrum. Even if you don't feel it right now, it's still going to be showing itself there. Now, the arches of the feet, this is your lower back, right? And so in the arches and in the lower back is found your kidneys, your adrenals. And so really high arches is like when your adrenals are just flared up, when you're ready to go. You know, people that have high arches have high energy. People that have low arches have low energy. And so you can see too that the two sides are going to be very different, right? My right side is so hyped up, the arch in the world, like ready to go out there. Whereas the left doesn't have as much of that pull because it's just not used as much, right? And so anything that's going on in the arches of your feet is going to reveal itself in your lumbar spine. So my whole right side, because it's overworked so much, is going to be spiking up all the time because, you know, that's like where I like to go. Whereas where we don't like to go, we don't see as much wear and tear, but eventually our strength blows out. So it's good to know where you don't go. Now, when we get up to the thoracic spine or the balls of the feet, right, in our thoracic spine is our lungs. So those balls of your feet are showing you everything about your lungs, right? You can see that my right is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit redder. It's a little bit overworked. That's the hand in the world. Like the right hand goes out in the world, signs checks, makes deals, where the left is the lung of the heart and the feelings and the home and the innocence that you heard when you were a child. And so the calluses of your feet too are showing you where you work too hard, right? Where you're overdoing it. And your shoes will show you that. Your shoes will show you where you overdo it, right? And then the little curve right here on the feet, this is the cervical spine, right? So anything that's going on in this little arch of the big toe right here is the neck, right? It's right where the head meets the neck. And then the balls of the feet, the right ball is your right eye, which is the left brain, which is the intellect, which is really the rationality and the pragmatism and time in a linear dimension. Whereas the left ball of the foot is the left eye. It's the right brain. It's the vastness of all that is, everything being together at once. And so when you can look at the foot in this way, you start to see where you overwork it. You start to see where you overchew it, where you overdo it, right? You start to see which foot is redder and you overuse it, and which foot is bluer and you don't use it as much. And you can really start to begin to make these patterns of, you know, where the aches and pains and the cuts are in your spine are going to show up in your foot. And so it's one of my favorite things to do when I am really looking at someone's body, is to look at the foot, to relay that into the spine, because the spine is the energy circuit that is moving energy through your whole entire body, and to learn to rebalance the body by using the yoga practice, right? By using the postures to find more alignment, because right when the body starts shifting, the feet will shift, right? Everything will shift together, because right when you change one piece, the whole thing changes, right? And so I hope you got something out of that. I hope you were following along, right? Get out your feet, take a look at them, reflect that into your body. And yeah, I can't wait to hear your insights, what came through for you. Make sure you subscribe if you want more of these yoga videos, the patterns of the body, the geometry of the yoga practice, spiritual well-being. Like, it is all in here. You can get into my app. There's tons of free practices, tons of free resources, tons of free calls in there. And otherwise, I'll see you next time.